Shalom, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We are also called United for Christ because we have joined another organization, Sabbath Seekers. Okay, so we're going to be changing things out from Beth Hesed into Sabbath Seekers. We meet at 1536 Minnehaha Avenue West, which is St. Paul, Minnesota. And we meet there. It's the midway area between St. Paul and Minneapolis. We meet there from 10:30 in the morning on Sabbath until about 2:30, 3 o'clock. If you want to know more about Nephilim, fallen angels, other things like that, and want to ask an expert the questions, I'll be there. So if you show up 2:30, 3 o'clock, whatever, we'll be winding down on our regular meeting, and then I'll answer all of the questions that you have, okay? We do, on this show, we do the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality or existence. We're going to be delving into Revelation again, solving pieces from Revelation 6 and 9 and 12, the sixth seal specifically from 6. So you'll see some interesting things today that should prompt some questions. So we're talking about UFOs, we're talking about disclosure, we're talking about disinformation, we're talking about the whole thing, and trying to get the Bible right, trying to get prophecy right, and get the news right. Okay, so once again, Spielberg has made billions. He's going to have a film called Disclosure Day coming up on June 12th of 2026. And in the meantime, things are really going bonkers in this world. But yeah, he thinks he's going to be saying things like it's way closer to the truth than fiction about extraterrestrials. We'll see what he says. We'll see what he shows. It'll be fiction, obviously, but then there's the Bible. The Bible does describe certain things. So what we're noticing right now is things like this. This is a clip over the United Arab Emirates, June of 2024, inverted teardrop with vertical linear trailing mass. Okay, look to the left-hand side. I added in that picture of a teardrop, an inverted teardrop with vertical linear trailing mass. Okay, that's what's going on right now. And this is from Fox News, obviously. Trump administration releases UFO and alien life files. So this is a disclosure, but there's also disinformation. Satan wants you to know about the disinformation. The Bible describes this phenomenon as astarte, stars in the Greek, and the Hebrew describes them as zava. You'll see me state that frequently. Stars, host, warring angels, fallen angels, and more. It could be a good angel or a bad angel. You never know. The Ophanim are the holy ones up in heaven. They look like wheels within wheels from Ezekiel 1. The main point is we're seeing more of this popping up as we see the disclosure occurring. Okay? So once again, there's something that looks like an Ophanim from Anna Paulina Luna, and on the screen there to the left, okay, that's from RTTV. I cite the Hebrewish version. This is from the Orthodox Jewish Bible of some of the angels mentioned in Ezekiel 1. The Chayot, which are the living creature animals that happen to have 4 faces, and then the Ophanim, which looks like wheels within wheels. And they have, 4-sidedly they went. They turned not as they went. As for their rims, they were so high that they were dreadful. And their rims were, oh, goodness, I'd rather read it in the Hebrew. Anyway, full of eyes round about. Okay. Ionim. Okay. The 4 of them. And the Chayot went, the living creature angels went, and the Ophanim went beside them. So it's just, this is how the Bible reads when you get into heavenly visions. Deal with it, people. Okay, and then so this is from Newsmax, and they're talking about a report. Pastors told UFO files could spark panic. And so you're going to have people who are going to say if there are galaxies and there are allegedly other creations in other galaxies, then the whole creation story is a myth. Or they're going to be pushing some pre-trib rapture type disinformation, okay? Keep in mind that the guys that are being cited right now are false prophets with PROFITS, okay? And the representative, Tim Burchett, calls for a report of Pastor-Pentagon meeting. He calls it BS, okay? And that's very accurate. It is. So far, from what I'm seeing, and I'll describe it more, but anyway, they were briefed by somebody, but not really who you think it is. So the church is going to fall for this lie. Okay, that's what they're claiming. That on the week of February 20th, 2026, these guys were invited to meetings held by a private UFO investigative group. Now, they sold this as an official CIA or FBI or Homeland Security type of a meeting. No, it was low-level people. Okay, and the guys listed, I won't list them here. I'll show you that in this a later slide. The guys listed and why I have so much problems with them. Okay, so let's run with Alan Didio is one of the guys that attended. Okay, and what happened then is he attended, but Perry Stone wasn't invited, and so Perry got jealous because he has a huge ego and he has other problems too, and so he came out and published something so he could be relevant to the world. Guys, you don't need to be relevant. God doesn't care if you're relevant or not. Okay, so these guys are all NAR people. They're New Apostolic Reformation. They believe that we're supposed to rebuild, we're supposed to all get wealthy and rebuild the world before the Messiah arrives. Well, that's a lie, right from the pit of hell. Okay, so they're prepping churches to sell the new gods, whatever. Okay, I did include something from Rebecca Sterling here. This is an interesting disclosure video, and I will cite it down below in the body of this video. So once again, this is Alan Didio plus Joseph Z plus another person. Instead of speculating about a government disclosure prep meeting for pastors, listen to the two guys who are actually there, walk through the whole conversation. But the problem is it was disinformation. It is. It's coming from these guys. It's disinformation. Why would the U.S. government choose these pastors? They didn't. This was not government. These are all TV-based, money-driven NAR, again, New Apostolic Reformation, emoting charismatiacs. They're all pushing pre-tribulation rapture. They make frequent errant prophecies for profit. Okay, notice how I use the FIT there, unaccountable to 1 Thessalonians 5:18 through 20, because it's their personal opinions that they claim are prophecies. They offer disinformation and speculation, easily manipulated leaders and flocks. What else? Who vindicates them? Who would verify if they're saying the truth or not? This is a psyop for every creed and nation. So, yes, Kash Patel is giving us information from the FBI about these UFO files, but what is it that we're looking for? We don't even know yet. We're waiting for more classified materials to drop. And some people are saying that this is the year of disclosure, 2026. We'll see. So anyway, the private briefing was not with government officials. Cash was not there, nor were normal men there. These were all the rapture pushers, okay? Warning of imminent. Well, that's what they always push, and we'll talk about that later on. Presidential order to release UFO information. Yeah, during the same week. Yep. Multiple aerial objects tracking a commercial flight. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Keep in mind the NAR is a cottage industry. They make money off disinformation. But yet on the bottom of this slide, the lower right-hand side, you see the wheels within wheels. So we have to talk about that. So Jim Ferguson, UFO encounter after secret pastors briefings. Okay, so once again, Joseph Z, other people like that. And so these are not officials. This was a lie. These were not government officials. So why are the most questionable voices in errant modern day prophecies being tempted to disclose UFOs to the sheeple? They're setting up the pre-tribbers like bowling pins. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so then he said to the disciples, "The days will come when you will desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and you will not see it. For you will say, 'Look here, look there.' Do not go after them or follow them. For as the lightning that flashes out of one part of the under the heaven shines to the other part of under the heaven, so also the Son of Man will be in his day." So don't follow these false prophets. So once again, Troy Brewer is one of them, and he's always got a prophetic word about everything, and nothing ever matches up with the Bible. Ellen Didio, Larry Ragland, Joseph Z. These are PROFITS, and according to many of these people were at these supposed secret meetings, okay? And then they're going to be claiming things like they lied to you about the rapture. Well, I'm getting sick and tired of that because they're taking the lie, which is the pre-trib rapture, and they're adding to it now other lies that they fashion in their brains. They are part of the disinformation. They're a gang. They're narcissists. So once again, the guys that we know attended for sure right now are Alan Didio, Joseph Z, Paul Begley, who is a problem in himself, Troy Brewer, Larry Ragland, Jamie Walden, who hates Sabbath keepers, thinks we're part of a cult. We're not. Okay, it's in the Bible everywhere, New Testament, Old Testament. What did occur on the day that they disclosed? On the 7th of May, Joni Lamb died. I'm not going to say much about it because I feel sorry for her family, but the main thing is in 2024, Daystar and Lamb were accused by Lamb's son, Jonathan Lamb, and his wife, Susie Lamb, of covering up the abuse of Jonathan and Susie's daughter when their daughter was 5. Lamb denied the allegations and no charges were ever filed. But the problem is something did occur because to this day, well, obviously Joni's gone now and Marcus died in 2021 maybe. So obviously, and this occurred in 2024. Obviously, there's a rift in the family, and I feel sorry for them. But there's also this horrible marriage to Doug Weiss that was involved in it too. And then what I want you to do is go down to the body section and look for Joni Lamb and Joseph Z's recent failed prophecy. It's 2 minutes. You can handle that. But keep in mind, Joni, the leader of all these false NAR prophets, died on the National Day of Prayer, Thursday, May 7th of 2026. Just note it, okay? Now we have to deal with the fallen angels. According to Dr. Michael Heiser, fallen angels, these watchers, inherently exist as a flame of fire, that's fireballs, male human forms, or limitless abilities to shapeshift into any animal or object, including serpentine forms. So, where does Heiser get this from? In part from 1 Enoch 18:9-16. And I saw a flaming fire. And behold, these mountains in a region, the end of the great earth. There the heavens were completed, and I saw the deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of firefall, which were beyond measure, alike towards the height and towards the depth. And beyond the abyss I saw the place which had no firmament of the heaven above, no firmly founded earth beneath it, and there was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and a horrible place. And I saw 7 stars like the great burning mountains, and to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven." So once again, a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. So we don't know which one is which, the stars or the host of heaven, or which is burning or not. Things can shapeshift. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times, and he was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. So obviously there's a time frame too. And what I'm saying is that much of what's stated here is also stated in 1 Peter 3:18 through 22, 2 Peter 2:4-10, and Jude, and certain parts of Revelation. So some of the, obviously, the people in the New Testament times knew of Enoch and these stories and cited them in Peter and Jude. So let's deal with what we're dealing with, okay? Which is Ephesians 6:12. We're dealing with rulers, principalities, authorities, powers. So we've got evil spiritual beings, okay, high ranking rather, evil spiritual beings with delegated power to influence or oppress. We've got powers of this dark world, cosmic powers, rulers of darkness. That's cosmo. So the words are again archos, exousios, cosmocratorus to scotius, and forces that dominate the current fallen world system, promoting spiritual darkness. And then the last one is bizarre. Okay, spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Okay, so this is why we need Dr. Michael Heiser to explain things to us. Per Anunnaki, watchers, serpentine beings, netherworld, ancient texts, things like that. So this will be clipped and put down below just so you can see it. And then one more explanation on this is archos, archons, potentially from Ephesians 6:12. Exousios again, cosmocratorus, world rulers. Then pneumatica, tes ponereus, and tois epineurios. Okay, so then from the heavens, spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly things, places. Okay, could be satanic, could be one of his forces. Who knows? But this is the best description that I found so far. This is from hermeneuticsstackexchange.com, and this is a pretty good answer. Both of those that I cited to you. Okay. Based on the Hebrew version of Revelation 6:12-17 and Isaiah 34:4, these withering fireballs can be meteors, star-like cosmic apparitions, fallen angels, those four things that I just cited in the last couple of slides, or warring angels. They can be good, they can be bad, we don't know. Okay? The increase in recent fireball sightings in March 2026 could be apocalyptic. And you've already read the line here below that with fallen angels and watchers and what it means from Dr. Michael Heiser. We don't know. We assume that Dr. Michael Heiser is right with this. Demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. There are enough sources to prove that through. Okay, and then basically there are other citations that he cites over the supernatural realm, UFO phenomenon, alien contact claims, abductions, other things like that. So if you want to, you can go through this video too. That's from John 14:6. That's a newer video channel that does a nice job. The main thing is, Heiser's one of the few people that really discusses it properly, and he's deceased now. He died a few years ago. Good guy. Okay, Qumran fragment. Watchers had a serpentine appearance. It seems to be the case. This seems to be the garden, where Adam and Eve were, and the Nakash, we'll call him, the shiny thing in the middle there, seems to have fallen before they ever did. So Second Temple Jews thought, no, animals don't talk. The gods must be up to something. They're either inhabiting this thing, or they come in the guise of this thing, and they're up to something, according to Dr. Michael Heiser. So when you get to the garden and you look at what's going on with the word Nachash again, it could be a noun, could be serpent, okay? It could be a verb, it could be deceiver or diviner. It could also be an adjective and be the shining one. So this is from Heiser. The main thing is you have to look at this as being, it could be any of those things, okay? We don't know. Could be a serpent, sure. Obviously, that's the case. But the main thing is the disinformation that occurs, and Barack Obama is part of the disinformation. He said, no, aliens haven't crashed in the U.S. Obviously, that's a lie. That's disinformation. I'm the guy to greet them, though. So obviously, we know he's lying based on his own statements. So we have to deal with the realities of what's going on with the information and disinformation. So there are these weird passages in the Bible where God uses what we would think are fallen angels to do his bidding. 1 Kings 22:22, who's going to entice Ahab out to battle so he'll die? And so sometimes he uses the host to hasten humans into battles or prevent battles. What if the Garden of Eden's creature wasn't only a serpent? I read Nakash as the shining one. Let's assume Satan is a cherub, a cherubim, the covering angel of God himself. He would reflect the light of God because he was covering God. That means Satan would reflect light. If Satan entered the garden, he would reflect light, hence Nakash. That's just how I'm seeing things. But there are also going to be these revelations, these prison releases. In accordance with Heiser, he mentioned there were 3 rebellions early on, the first in Genesis 3, the second in Genesis 6, the third in Genesis 10 or 11. But there seemed to be 3 releases. And that's the 5th trumpet of chapter 9 of Revelation, the 6th trumpet then, like chimeras there, and then the Revelation 12. But also I'm arguing that there's another potential opening of portals during the 6th seal of Revelation, chapter 6, 12 through 17. There are also portals related to Babylon, and there's, the 6th trumpet relates to Babylon. Babilu, or Akkadian, does mean gate of God or gates of God. And so it could be the gate and then of the God or the gods. And the Sumerian name, oh goodness, I can't remember how that goes. Kadinger Ra. And it's related to the 6th trumpet. So these things are sealed at some point in time with the Epic of Gilgamesh, but then there's an opening during the end of days. And also we have the problems with the shamans. Graham Hancock asked a Peruvian shaman why he painted UFOs. His answer was that those vehicles entering and leaving the spirit world. Obviously, there's something going on with fallen angels or angels in general. So I'm not saying that you trust them, but there is information and disinformation. And if you don't have a good background in Heiser, I think you'll be deceived. So, Dr. Michael Heiser, casting down of Satan. Satan falls like lightning from heaven. It's when you hear its tail swept the third of the stars from heaven in chapter 12 of Revelation and threw them down to the earth. It hasn't happened yet, okay? But it may happen shortly, okay? So here's what we have: Watchers in prison in Tartarus, the abyss, okay? That is absolutely from Second Peter 2:4. The Watchers' spirits are still free to go about the earth. These spirits can change form. Giants fathered by spirits, the Watchers, apparently referring to the original offenders of Genesis 6 who were imprisoned. Gigantus, themselves can be called the Watchers or the evil spirits. Giants can also in the earth or on the earth. We don't know exactly where they are. Okay, the original Watchers who committed the sins, of course, they seem to be in various prisons, not just one. Okay, and they could be the Greek Titans, they could be the Nephilim giants, they could be half Watcher, half human. When the giant was killed, only the human side died. The Watcher half lived as a Watcher. Okay, and subsequent generation Watchers were also called Shadim demons. Okay, and Watcher demons may be in the abyss, but also may be upon the earth. They are not imprisoned. Okay, so demons seem to be allowed to be on the earth. Okay, and in the earth, upon the earth, whatever. They can assume many different forms, and they want to be worshipped, obviously. So that's more from Dr. Heiser. At some point in time, there will be an ending point, and I'll have a wonderful video with, oh goodness, I just forgot his name. So anyway, I'll mention it later on, but that'll be June 10th, and that'll be Blackford Talks Prophecy, and we'll go through Caesarea Philippi and then Mount Hiram, which is imprecation of a curse together. We'll talk about Pan, and we'll talk about the shrine to Caesar, shrine to Pan, temple to Zeus, the dance floor, the sacred goats. And so we'll talk about a bunch of stuff with him on June 10th because he's going to be there on Mount Hermon, which is Hiram in the Hebrew. Okay, so this is the end of the video. We'll be discussing Howard Pittman and his opinions on fallen angels and things like that. The angels were in the process of explaining what was going on, and then I could suddenly hear a great noise rather, that sounded like an army marching. Looking up, I saw this column of giant soldiers marching toward me. I noticed the demon stopped what they were doing and began to move out of the way as of the way of the approaching soldiers. Fascinated with the appearance of the approaching giants, I suddenly felt my escorting angels stiffen as if they were turning to stone. I stiffened also, and I did not move a muscle. It seemed that the marching army would walk right over us. When they reached a point approximately 8 to 10 feet from us, they suddenly swerved and went around us. One of the giants broke ranks and came up to me. Leaning down, he put his eyeball to the eyeball of mine and leered at me. Had I not been there under the protection of the Holy Spirit, there would have been some sort of confrontation. Needless to say, had this same event happened to me while in the physical world, I would have been shaken up somewhat. However, because of the Holy Spirit, I never feared. It was obvious that these beings hated me and the angels with me. So he had guardian angels with him. It was obvious that, if they could have, they would have torn us apart. I noticed that same resentment in all the higher order of demons, or fallen angels, or whatever created beings. Those demons in the middle of the rankings went about their business as if they were not there. They seemed to be trying to ignore us. Those in the lower ranks acted as though they were afraid of the angels with me, and it was revealed to me that the warring demons are the cream of Satan's crop, so to speak. They are his ruling order, and from his group comes all his princes who are the rulers of darkness. Once again, citing Ephesians 6:12, who are the rulers of principalities. They control spiritual wickedness in high places. That's Luke 22:53. Howard Pittman again, demons, an eyewitness account, chapter 4, the giant warring demons. And he was a Baptist pastor. He headed NDE in 1979, and he had a tour of devils, the Satan's kingdom, by the order of God. So, when David Wilkerson was in the hotel room in Budapest, Hungary, he heard an audible voice which said he was going to die that night. When he went into prayer, the Lord told him that Satan himself threatening him in his room because he was upsetting his kingdom in Budapest, and not to worry, as I have placed a warring angel to protect you, and he cannot get by him. Wilkerson, referring to the class, warring angel in God's kingdom, brings credibility to Pittman, referring as a warring angel to a warring angel in Satan's kingdom. These are not theories. These are eyewitnesses. Both say that we got a term from the Lord. Ecclesiastes 3:8, a time for war and a time for peace. Daniel 10:13 talks about the prince of the kingdom of Persia and the prince of the kingdom of Greece, and that the prince of Persia withheld Gabriel for 21 days. Then behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left there with the kings of Persia. So what I'm arguing is that you're not going to get information from other people. You won't get it from Mark Hitchcock and the Rapture guys. Mark is saying there are no signs. So whatever you're watching right now, ignore it, because there's no signs until the rapture, the pre-trib rapture, as he preaches it. So there is something called the doctrine of imminence that implies a possibility at any moment, a signless coming rapture by the Messiah. Okay, that's Tommy Ice's words, but basically that's what they all believe. And the mirror on the top middle says, since the seven seals of Revelation begins with the arrival of the Antichrist riding on a white horse, it goes without saying that no seal has already been opened. Happy to help. He doesn't care. He's making $18 million a year. Why would he care? Hitchcock makes a lot of money too. So the bottom line is all these signs from the sun, all these signs of a pole flip, all these UFO signs are meaningless to them because they're rapture guys and they push dogma. Okay? Let's go back to that and then I'll just discuss this. So there are other people that are pushing things. The Roman Catholics, they want to baptize aliens. If aliens are fallen angels or demons, you can't baptize them. You shouldn't have that goal at all. There's no need to do so. Reformed churches, they will ignore everything, okay? So your typical Baptists and Lutherans and any of the Reformation type guys, if they're celebrating Reformation Day on Halloween, generally they're going to ignore this. Converge conference type people in this region, those people will be fired if they discuss this. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Any signs of UFOs or solar signs or anything like that, they'll be fired for even talking about it. Okay, Eastern Orthodox, they refuse to read the book of Revelation. Okay, they don't call it scripture. They really laugh at it. Okay, the rapture people, which generally are Assembly of God people and Calvary Chapel, they will push you into what you're viewing right here. Okay, the only people that will talk about it is the Heiser guys. So look for Heiser guys and look for the Heiser videos that I'm giving you because it will help you to understand what's coming, okay? These signs and these events coming up, okay? Now, I'm going to end it with this. You can pause and read, but these are 10 types of angels that are mentioned in the scriptures. This is one person's opinion. I don't know if I agree with Coyote Hakadash. You know, that's living creatures. Ophanim, yes, wheels within wheels, no doubt about that. Erolim, I've never really heard that cited, and I'm not sure where they found it. From Kabbalah, that's fine, but even from Christianity too. Hashmalim, I've never heard of that one either, but it's interesting, okay. And then Seraphim, yes, I've heard that many times. So Seraphim are the burning ones, okay. And Malachim is really more messenger. It could be an angel, it could be just a messenger too. God sends out people to be messengers. Malachim. And you'll see that in Revelation chapter 2 and 3. You'll see the Malachim of these locations, the seven churches. Elohim could be, based on Heiser, could be Mighty One, could be fallen angels, could be part of the council on high. You never know. B'nai Ha Elohim, the sons of the Mighty One, or the sons of God in most cases. Cherubim, the close ones. Okay, we would believe that Satan was a cherubim and that he would be cited in Isaiah 14 and then Ezekiel 28. Ishim, I've never heard of that one, but Ish would be male. But Ashim could be fire, flame, sparks, and so you've seen that covered already. Just be aware of that. We are in the birth pangs. I believe the seals are opened, many, not the sixth. We're not in the tribulation, not in the Great Tribulation. We're discussing disclosure or disinformation. And we're just talking because you're coming up to a marriage at some point in time. Probably one of those three fall dates. What garments will you wear? You can't go naked. You will be thrown out if you're naked or wearing dirty clothes. It's a wedding to the Messiah. So thank you very much for your time. God bless you. And we will see you again Wednesday evening. Oh, goodness, I'm blanking on who's on Wednesday night. Come, just watch the show. It'll be great. Take care. God bless. Oh, it's Paul Carlin. Yeah.